All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lasting Learning Podcast. Tonight's episode is going to be one that you are just going to want to sit down and soak in. It is an episode that I've been waiting to share with you for a little bit of time here. It's a powerful one. It is potentially a life-changing one. It is definitely going to be an inspiring episode. Today we have a guest who's joining us from the comforts of Austin, Texas, a place that I know a lot of you have been for vacation, but this guy is living there and enjoying an amazing life right now. It's a life that he is truly excelling at and pushing through. Today we've got Logan Sneed joining us, and Logan is he's everywhere right now. Thank God he's everywhere right now. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's inspirational, he's motivational because he just wrote a book that is titled Thank You, Cancer. I'm going to use Thank You. I know there's another title that we skirted on. I'll let you go there if you want to, but it's called Thank You, Cancer. And it's his story. I'm going to let him tell his story in just a minute. But Logan, thank you so much for being here, man.
Man, thank you. Yeah, I mean, if people want to know what we're talking about there on the word that we're not mentioning, just type in "Thank You, Cancer" and you'll find out what that word is.
there you go. It has 4 letters, begins with an F, and walks like a duck. There you go.
Yeah.
So Logan, there might be some people out there that don't know you. Can you just give us a little snapshot of who you are and a little bit about your story?
Yeah, so I'm a 4-year glioblastoma brain cancer survivor. Almost exactly 4 years ago, I was actually headed to the gym one day, and I was, in the mood. I was in such a good mood for the day, and I've never done this in my entire life, and I don't plan on doing it again. But that one day, I decided to do it out of the blue. As I just started FaceTiming my girlfriend on the way to the gym when I was driving, and some people say, "Oh, that's horrible. You should never do that." I agree. Don't ever do that. But it was the one day that I did it that, really was, I'm glad that I did that because I was actually talking to her on the phone, FaceTiming, and I started slurring so many words. I started trying to figure out what I was going to say. And, it was really difficult to get the words out of my mouth. It's like they're sitting on your tongue and you know in your mind what you're trying to say, but you can't say it. You're just physically unable to say it. And so I was slurring, and she thought I was like, playing a joke and just like, just messing around. And so she started laughing. And suddenly as it's happening, I started having a seizure while I was driving. And I've never in my life have had a seizure before, let alone while driving. And that led to us full seizure while driving. And thankfully I drove half a mile unconscious. And so thankfully I only drove into a ditch. If I took one extra left turn, I would have gone straight into a highway, which would have been really, really bad. But it actually led to me just going into a ditch. There's actually no damage, no injury, nothing like that at all. And the question was, where did this all come from? And so that led to me being shipped off to the hospital, obviously. And they, by the way, they actually had to break into my car. So they had to shatter my windows to get in because I was having a seizure and the car was locked. So I go in there and they say, is Logan doing drugs? Is this like, what's going on with him? And of course they drug tested me, no drugs at all, nothing. Never has been any sort of like, I've never had a seizure before in my life. And so they said, well, we have no idea. Like, we just don't know. We're going to have to maybe scan either his brain or his whole body and see what's going on here. And so they did a little bit of a brain scan. They said, okay, we think there's something in his head that we may have to go look further into. So like, okay, so that led to an MRI the next day, right? And the MRI, I never understood really what it was. I never thought it was really that big of a deal. So the MRI came. So I had the MRI the next day and they said, okay, it looks like there's a mass in there. We don't know if this is a tumor or if this is just a regular mass that can just sit there forever. We don't know, but we see something in there. So that led to a neurologist. A neurologist looked at it and said, okay, this looks pretty intense. Again, I can't tell you if it's a tumor. I don't know if it's good, bad, whatever, but it looks pretty serious because of its size. So that led him to forwarding me to a surgeon, a brain surgeon. So the next day we're going to a brain surgeon. The brain surgeon that I meet says, hey, I looked at your tumor. If we're going to be doing surgery, you probably won't be able to speak or hear after the surgery. The reason is because it's on your temporal lobe. And so going in there, he's basically telling me I'm going to become borderline mute, which is obviously not the best at all. And so that was another just shock and awe right there out of the blue. Just the most random day, the most random thing I've ever seen in my life, and out of the blue. And so my life was basically doing a 180 in a matter of hours. And so that led to us saying, okay, well, if we're going to have brain surgery, probably shouldn't go with this guy. Like, this guy seems like he's not confident with himself. He's not confident with my situation. So I don't want to rely my life on him going into my brain, you know? So we found the number one brain surgeon in the world, named Dr. Raymond Sawaya. And I said, hey, dude, like, am I gonna be okay? Like, am I gonna be able to speak or hear after this thing? He's like, dude, if I'm doing the surgery, don't sweat it. Like, I got you. And I was like, whoa. So it's like, I mean, looking into this, like, it's literally two different people doing the same exact thing with two completely different mindsets, right? Like, it's somebody's life is on the line, and one person is like extremely confident, and one person is not confident at all. So obviously I'm going to go with the guy who is extremely confident, right? So then he said, okay, but Logan, look, we're going to have surgery probably tomorrow. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, brain surgery tomorrow? I'm like, this is crazy. So that led to, you know, a 5 a.m. brain surgery that lasted about 7 to 8 hours, right? And so this right here was a day that really was, like, obviously pretty insane. So I go into the surgery, 7 to 8 hour brain surgery. They wake me up in the middle of the surgery to make sure that I can still speak and hear, so they'd ask me questions. And if it got to a point where, like, I was slurring or I couldn't speak or hear, they'd have to cut the surgery short, because, you know, they would have to leave some remains of the tumor in there. That way I can still live, right? You can only penetrate a brain so much. And so thankfully the surgery went extremely well. He removed 100% of the tumor, no remains at all. And it was a perfect size of an egg. So exactly what an egg looks like is exactly what the tumor was, literally identical. And that led to us like, okay, now let's just wait and see if this is a not so bad or if this is a pretty horrific tumor. We don't know. Let's just wait and see. So 2 weeks kind of goes by. We're waiting for the diagnosis and see what the results are. And they call us back into the office, and I'm sitting there with my mom and my dad, and the lady comes in. She won't look me in the eyes. She won't even, like, really, like, she has a very weird vibe of, like, what's going to be happening here. And she goes, hey, you know, it's good to meet you, but I just want you to know that this is going to be a stage 4 glioblastoma brain tumor. This is a very, you know, deathly situation here. It looks like, you know, overall, looks like you have about 1 to 10 years left to live, and we can't do much about this. So we're gonna do chemotherapy. We'll do radiation, but that's really all that we can do in this situation. So she basically gave me my death sentence, like, hey, this is your life. You're gonna be dead soon, so we'll start getting your grave ready. Basically, literally how the tone and everything in that talk. And so that led to us, like, you know, okay, what should we do? Like, should we do anything about this? Like, should he stop eating some sugars, or, like, I don't know, just, like, change something about his diet, like anything? No, I think it's really nothing we can do. And so, you know, my dad was like, all right, so, I mean, should you just go drink a beer and have a burger or something? Yeah, you know, that's really all I'm saying. You know, he can't do anything about it. And I'm like, wow. I mean, if you want to know, I mean, to know what that feels like, add on 100 pounds to your back for the rest of your life, and you can't lose that weight at all. And that's literally what it's like. And so that's when I left there. We left there like, the heck, like, I thought, okay, why am I alive? Okay, I'm taking up time, space, even medical money, right? So it's like nothing we can do. So what the heck am I even doing here? That's literally how I felt. Go ahead,
I've got like 1,000 questions. This is
there's still some
people that are listening to this right now are just thinking their minds are completely blown right now that you're sitting here telling the story. I want to try to expound on a couple of things just for people that might not quite get some of this. You use the term stage 4, and we hear about the stages of cancer quite a bit. But you also said that the surgeon went in and removed the entire tumor. Can you talk about what that means? How can they remove it all, but then you still have stage 4 cancer? And I also want to know, like, what were the reactions of all the other people, like your girlfriend in the situation and all that?
Yeah, good question. So that's still a little bit of a question that we have. So if it's stage 4, how is the whole thing removed? Secondly, I've talked to one of the top neuro-oncologists out there, Dr. Raymond Sawaya, Dr. Thomas Seyfried. And he said, you're telling me that your tumor was a stage 4 GBM tumor, and he removed 100% of the thing? was like, yeah, you moved 100%. He said, you know the odds of that actually happening? He said, it's like literally 1 in 1,000 of him removing the full tumor if it's a true GBM. And I was like, well, I mean, what the diagnosis was. So, I mean, I guess that's good news, parentheses, good news, right? So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, it was fully removed, but they categorize it as stage 4. So it's almost like, are they right or are they wrong? I mean, obviously I'd say they are right, but I would say it's good, the fact that the whole thing was removed. And so it's almost like a one in a million chance of that happening. And it actually happened. And I got to give a ton of credit, obviously, to Raymond Sawaya, the number 1 surgeon in the world is what people see him as.
Well,
And
even if other people didn't see him as that, you see him as that. I mean,
dude,
right?
I got to say this too. Like, I mean, I think doctors are great people, but you don't really build like friendships and stuff with doctors. At least in my history, it's more of like a just get in, get out, get in, get out sort of thing. And especially surgeons, surgeons are like in a whole different world that they don't like. You can't develop a friendship because, God forbid something happens, and it's like really hurts a lot of things. But this guy, man, he is just full throttle at what he does, and it's absolutely amazing. But he has a whole different mindset. So obviously he did a great job. But leading that to like how this all worked with my girlfriend, right? So this kind of adds into the story later on down the road. But she was just shocked, obviously, and we were together for 4 years at the time, and it was just a very shocking time in her life, but in my life as well, because I didn't really understand what stage 4 a glioblastoma tumor was, and neither did she. And so obviously that scares the crap out of her of like, okay, my boyfriend could be gone tomorrow. I don't know. So that was a very scaring time for both of us. And I'll kind of add on to what happened later on in the story. But yeah, I mean, it was just a shocking moment at such a fast rate.
Crazy. I mean, this story is just okay. So let me back up a little bit more here. So at the time, for people that are watching this can see where you are in your life, but those that are listening might not pick up on it. You're not like a 90-year-old dude that's lived your entire life here. How old were you when this happened to you?
Yeah, I was 20 years old.
20 years old. And you're approaching this with such maturity, or maybe it's just looking back on it now, it seems like it was maturity, or it was just ignorance because you didn't quite know what was happening. What were you were you just completely overwhelmed and didn't know what to do, or were you just completely freaking out?
I think you take a little bit of everything, and that's what it was. And I say that because like I always had a great life. There was nothing bad, like definitely not that bad that's happened to me. I've had stitches, I've had scars, I've broken my fingers, whatever, but I've never had something super horrific like that. And so because of that, I was like, nah, I mean, nothing horrible is really going to happen to me. I mean, come on, I'm a good dude. I got a good life, So that was one thought. The other thought is I've always been very entrepreneurial. So I've always had that mindset of like, let's go, let's go, let's go. We can do it. We can do it. But then obviously a lot of it was like, holy crap, my life just did a 180 in literally amount of hours. So the heck am I even doing? I have no idea. But it was like, I don't know what to do. There's something I can do, but I don't know what it is. And, it literally is just a bunch of those variables all put together. And I know it sounds really weird, but that's literally how I was feeling.
Right now, the people that follow you see you as this guy that you seem like you're so confident and that you have so much optimism. And I don't even want to call it hope. It's almost like you've got this. It's not like you're wishing for something. It's almost like you've conquered everything. Is that how you really feel today? Or are you still scared every day, or when you go for those checkups? What's really going on the inside?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can be dead honest with you. I feel 100% confident. And the reason I feel 100% confident is because I'm working every day for it to never let it come back, right? That has to do with my diet. That has to do with my overall belief internally. It has to do with my habits, my environment. I truly believe that it's gone forever. And I say that because I'll just give you some examples. I meditate on this every single day. I meditate on the life that I desire, the life that I have. I'm fasting every day. I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm doing the ketogenic diet. And so because of the work I put in, it gives me that confidence. If I didn't put in that work, I'd go in there probably really nervous of like what could happen today, right? And if I feel amazing like I do, if I feel really, really, really good physically, then I go in there with confidence because I would know if the tumor's coming back. Like I would either have a potential seizure, I would be extremely weak, I would be extremely headaches. I mean, like there's so many symptoms of knowing if it's coming back, and I have none of those. And so I go in there and I'm very confident every time I go in there.
One of the things that I saw that you post recently, I think it's even written, is that you thank your obstacles. You look
Mhm.
back and you say, "Man, I'm grateful for those things that I had to overcome." Do you honestly thank that experience, that stage 4 cancer, open your head brain surgery for who you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, am I glad I did all that stuff? Am I excited about it? No. But am I grateful that I learned something and I've experienced things in that that's helped me grow in my life? You know, not only with my overall success, but my journey in life as a whole. Absolutely, I am. And so, like, you know, would I be on here if I didn't have cancer? I don't know. You know, would I, you know, be doing this podcast with you that potentially could save somebody's life? I don't know. You know, and so that's how I look at this and saying like cancer brought me on here and it's an opportunity to change my life and change somebody else's.
That is powerful. I mean, that perspective, and it's real and it's authentic. Um, it's taking your story, whatever that story is, and using it to truly save others. So
Yeah.
what is your mission right now? What is your goal? When you say saving somebody else's life, how do you feel like your life right now could and should save somebody else? I'll tell you, I mean, personally, it's making a huge impact on me just hearing the story and
Yeah.
the woes is me that I get into sometimes and how pathetic they seem in comparison to your story. But I mean, you're truly saving lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, the goal is like to save my life, right? If I can save my life and people can watch that happen, they can know in their mind, like, okay, if he's able to do that for himself, why can't I do it for mine? And the answer is you can do it for yours. And so that's what gives them the motivation, right? There's nothing special about me. I'm not this doctor. I have no degree. Okay. I'm not this like crazy bodybuilder. I'm not like nothing special about me. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do. And so if other people can relate to that in the sense of like, okay, I'm going through depression, I'm going through diabetes, I'm going through, I'm not confident with my body. You know, I've had a horrific, you know, time in my as a childhood, whatever those things are, you can use those and realize, okay, I've experienced things that not many people have experienced, and I know where I can grow from that, right? You're not given things in your life. You're going to get things by the work you're putting in, and that's the growth that you're going to get the growth by the action you're putting in from growing from those experiences that you've had in your life that, you know, you thought have maybe destroyed you at some time. So,
That's powerful. So do you feel like you are a different person now after having gone through this, or is this who you've always been and that helped you get through?
um, I would say a little bit of both. Like I said, I've been very, very like go getter, like super entrepreneurial. I've put in so much work. Like whatever my energy goes towards, I've always put in so much work. I mean, basketball, it was always my goal to play college basketball. I was able to get college basketball opportunities. I didn't take them on because I really wanted to be an entrepreneur one day. But I put in so much work over the years of being the best freaking basketball player that I possibly could be. And I was able to achieve that. I achieved big goals in that of, you know, district MVP and all this sort of stuff. But whatever my energy goes towards is where I'm going to see results. And thankfully, I've had that sort of mindset even before all of this. But in that time when the diagnosis came, it was basically all stripped away because now it's like, yeah, you're working hard for basketball and that's all great and dandy. Okay, now we got to go maybe to a whole different level where your life is on the line now. So now let's get a little bit more serious on just on more serious than you were just on basketball stuff. So it's almost like a full level up that I had to do mentally, emotionally, and physically.
It's fascinating. You know, I thought about when you met with that first surgeon, the one that wasn't all that confident, or even when you got that diagnosis from the nurse that came in and said, you know, you got 1 to 10 years left. And there's that Tim McGraw song, "Live Like You Are Dying."
Yeah.
And you and your dad are talking about, should you go get a beer, get a burger? I can imagine that all of your life dreams, at least temporarily, were thrown out the window as you're thinking through, okay, how am I going to live these last days?
Hmm.
What are some of those thoughts that went through your head? What were those things that you said, I'm going to do in the short term?
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea what I was going to do, to be honest with you, because like the thoughts of like, you know, why am I even here? Absolutely. 100%. Like, I'm like, it's useless. Like, I got nothing. It's all gone. Like, all right, what's next? You know, nothing. So I never even had those thoughts of like, all right, short term, here's what I'm going to do. Like I never even had those because it was like either it's all or nothing. I'm not going to, I'm not going to put in 50% effort and get 50% results. It's like at first I was very destroyed, and that's what led to me figuring out the ketogenic diet, right? So like it was about a 2 to 3 week, no, excuse me, longer than that, where I had no clue what to do, no idea. And I was actually paddleboarding with a friend downtown here in Austin, who's actually a lifelong mentor of mine, even before all of this stuff. And he was just asking how I feel, mentally, emotionally, physically. And he was like, "Have you heard of this ketogenic diet thing?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I've never heard of that. What? Can you tell me what that is?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a high fat, medium protein, low carb diet, and it is really, really good for people who are fighting brain cancer." And I was like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, there's been a lot of success on this, on potentially shrinking tumors or preventing tumor regrowth." And I was like, okay, okay, okay. I was like, I'll look into this and I'll definitely check it out. And so that night, I actually stayed up till like 3 a.m. in the morning, just like, what is the ketogenic diet? How does this work? What are the benefits? Yada, yada, yada. It was like fat loss, cognitive improvement, brain cancer, fighting whatever, diabetes, epilepsy, seizures. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm not going to say it's going to save my life because I don't really even know, but I'll do whatever the heck I can to make the most of this. And that's what kind of gave me a lot of that motivation, that kick, because I was like, there's something there. There's something there. I just have to keep carving in that cave, right? In order to strike the gold and to hit the diamond, you have to keep going. And so I was like, I'm just going to keep chipping away at this thing. And eventually I'm going to get it. And so that's really what gave me that new motivation, that new vision, that new drive, in optimizing my life as a whole.
There are going to be people that are listening to this. They're going to be complete skeptics, and you got to know that. I mean, I'm sure you experience this all the time. And there'll be people that say there's no way the diet is going to be what saves him. It's not the exercise. He was healthy before. I mean, that's not what caused the tumor. Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing that's definitive is your mindset is freaking incredible. I mean, it's insane.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
I got to know what was your childhood like? How did your parents develop this in you? Because I'm 42 years old, so I'm definitely older than you. And
Mhm.
I stub my toe and I sit in the corner and just want to suck my thumb. I mean, I can't imagine going through something like this and just having the perseverance to say, I don't care what it is. I'm going to find whatever solution I can. Like you said, I'm going to just go down there with my pickaxe. I'm going to find every diamond I can till I can take this in my own hands. I know that I don't have that kind of strength. Where does that come from? How did you develop this?
I think it's obviously my parents. They've had that sort of mindset, but they've never been parents where it's like, you got to work hard. You got to work hard, Jake. Like, come on, man, you better put in that work. Wake up at 5 a.m. Like, they were never like that. I just kind of followed their footsteps, right? Like, they did their own work. They had their own entrepreneurs, and so I was like, I looked up to them in the way that they put in their work, and I actually developed these habits like when I was a young kid, all the way from like 6th grade to 9th to 10th grade, is I always wanted to be the best, right? Like Kobe always said it, like he always wanted to be the best. And I was able to develop that mindset, by watching motivational videos by Kobe Bryant. I was watching Kobe videos, I was watching Michael Jordan videos, I was watching Tony Robbins videos, I was watching, Jeff Cavalier. I mean, I was watching, the list is on and on and on. And it's like, I'm hearing these voices, at a young age of like, pursue your dreams, don't let anything stop you, yada, yada, yada. And that's just kind of like, that was like my best friend. Literally, it's just like listening to those videos just repeatedly over and over again. I literally would memorize these videos, right? Like I just listened to it so many times, and that's just the fuel that's being put into me, not the fuel taken from me by being around the wrong people or, listening to somebody else or any of that sort of stuff. So I kind of developed that in my life at a young age, just because I watched one video, changed my life, and then I became heavily addicted to these things. And I still love them, but that's kind of where it all kind of started.
It's cool. So I'll say, you talked about your diet and the stuff that you were consuming is helping you, but it's not just the stuff you're putting into your mouth. It's the stuff you're putting in your ears too. That steady diet of all of the stuff you're consuming, the words you're listening to, the stuff you're telling yourself through meditation, as well as the actual physical food you're putting into your body is truly transforming who you are.
Yeah.
And it's changing you physically, biologically, and mentally. And that's a powerful lesson. I think that's kind of what you're trying to do to others right now. You're trying to give them this steady dose of, you can change it, you can fix it. So talk people right now, what are you doing right now with your life? You're not just sitting around talking to me on the computer. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, I'm gonna go back into the diet portion, right? A lot of people say, well, he was already really healthy, right? I actually was doing probably about 4,000 calories a day. I was trying to get so muscular. I was trying to be the most swole dude that possibly could ever be out there. So I was doing 4,000 calories a day. I was doing about 400 carbs a day. I was doing 1,000 calorie protein smoothies, sugar shakes, and like I was heavily inflaming my body. I was working out twice a day. I was getting poor sleep, waking up at 5 a.m. It was just horrific. I even going back to like the cause of the tumor. I actually had a tragic event in a basketball game 6 years before the tumor came, and the tumor was 6 years old, and it led to my eye swollen shut for like a 2-week period. That was almost like the sheer beginning of the tumor, and then over time, I was doing phone calls with girlfriends on the phone for 2 hours to the left side of my brain. There was just like EMF out the wazoo into my head. So you put all those variables together, that's like the cause of my tumor. So was I healthy my whole life? Like I thought I was, but I was actually fueling a tumor for 6 years that was just sitting around there. I had no clue. But yeah, no, I mean, that just kind of like, that just is like the beginning of it all. But now where am I at? Well, I mean, like what I do every day is, I'm a YouTuber, so I make a lot of content. I have, fusionlean.com where I coach people in building or transforming their own lives physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then my other one, Fitpreneur Academy, is where I guide people in telling their story, right? A lot of people have their story. They want to get out there and they want to build a brand. That's what I do in guiding them. But then obviously, my book, I do, obviously podcasts, public speaking and stuff. And so my goal overall is to just like create the best version of myself and show people what's possible. It always seems impossible until it is done. And so that's my mission every day.
Is that your long-term vision as well? I mean, how do you define your life as a success moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I define my life as a success moving forward is really never slowing down, right? Like taking a break is great. Like a day off, great, but I'm never going to slow down and thinking like, oh man, today sucked. Maybe I should rethink this. Or like, I'm not gonna be able to achieve this. Like, no, I will achieve the things that I have in my mind. Becoming the next Tony Robbins is like my long-term goal. So again, if it takes 1 year, okay. If it takes 5 years, great. 10, 20, 30, 50 years, I don't know. But I'll do whatever the heck I can to achieve that. And that's what makes me feel successful. It's not like when I achieve speaking at Tony Robbins event or not, not when I get there. It's just me going there in that process is what my success is.
Wow. And so you've got a book out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it a little bit. It's called Thank You Cancer. And the major theme of that is basically everything you just talked about. It's overcoming, it's persevering, it's living a life of purpose. It's plowing through your obstacles and saying, thank you for that. Thanks for helping solidify who I am and what I'm about. With all that, I'm going to take you back to high school now. In high school language arts class, your teacher said, okay, come up with the theme for the book.
Mm-hmm.
What is the theme? What is the thing that people take away from that, or that you want them to take away from that book?
Yeah. The subtitle of the book is called 30 Days in Realizing Nothing is Impossible, right? If you're going through cancer, depression, self-doubt, failed entrepreneur, whatever, you have big goals in your life, but you're super skeptical about them, and you just don't know if it's really possible. It is possible. And you'll never know until you take action on it. So again, all the things that I've been through in such a short amount of time, I've been able to overcome those things. And if I'm able to overcome those things that are nearly impossible altogether, if I'm able to do that, then anybody can overcome any of their obstacles and use that to help themselves grow. You can use those horrific times and go back and say, you know what? Because I experienced blank, I am where I am today because of that. And I'm grateful that I learned those sort of things. And that's what I want people to take away is like, there are things that we think is impossible. We think these things are destroying us, and we can redirection those things and saying, you know what, it's not destroying me. It's actually creating me. So, I kind of summarize, stop chasing yourself and start creating yourself. You can't go chase after this good old life that people want. You have to go back and say, you know what, here's where I'm at. Here's what I've experienced. Now it's time to create myself. And that's what, people will get out of my book.
I think that's such a great lesson. We talk about the idea that we are a collection of our successes. And we talk about the idea that nobody's a self-made man or a self-made woman, truly focusing on the successful experiences that we've been through. Very rarely do we look back at those painful experiences, those things that we had to overcome, whether we did them on our own or with the help of others, and say, those helped shape me into who I am as well. Those
Yeah.
things are the things that truly chiseled me into the person I am. And I think what's cool about you is it, these experiences haven't chiseled you and hardened you into some guy that's just gonna say, leave me alone. I'm gonna be in my own little bubble, which so many of us would going through something like this. But it's almost softened you. It's taken you to this place now where you're extremely vulnerable and you're just willing to tell anybody your story and do it in such a real, authentic way. It doesn't come across as preachy at all. It's, this is me. This is what I believe. This is my story. And I hope that I can take you along for the ride, because someday some of you out there are going to need this.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're a missionary, if you will, for this message. It's powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not Mr. Tough Guy. I'm not Mr. Know-It-All, and I'm not Mr. Invincible. I'm just the guy that's chipping away in the cave and won't stop until something comes, and the process is where the success is. Like I said, it's like nothing special about me. It's just whatever comes my way is I'm going to go at it full throttle.
Man, it's powerful. It's absolutely powerful. And, I think some people, when they first started hearing you tell the story, thought it was going to be one of those depressing stories. And they were probably settling in to say, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this emotional roller coaster. But I haven't felt that way. And I feel like maybe I should have. Maybe I should have been feeling sorry for you, but I don't.
Yeah.
I almost feel uplifted. I
Yeah.
feel better. Truly, I feel in a better mood now than I did a half hour ago when we first signed on. That's a testament to you and the spirit that you bring to other people, man.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
and I wish I could put my finger on it and say, man, I want that, but I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that thing is that you've got that other people need to just latch onto?
Man, it's really doing it, right? Like the simple term of Nike says, just do it. Like that's the thing. It's like I had a life or death situation. So it's either you live or you die. It's you can choose, right? And so when
And the
people,
reality is, I'm sorry to cut you off, we all have that choice. Every
yeah,
single day we've got that choice. So
exactly. It's like, we're waiting for that one day that's going to suddenly change our life. We're waiting for that one person to come in and just bring us so much hope and everything. It's never going to happen. And so you have to go in and re-sculpt who you are. And it's the little things, right? It's not like you're going in to suddenly, get a full voila surgery and you become now super Mr. Invincible, in one day. It literally is just the baby steps, right? It's like, I'll give you an example. Some people have, low confidence, or they have a lot of self-doubt, or they're not happy with their body. Okay, what can you do to fix that? Instead of thinking about how horrible these things are, could you maybe change your diet? Can you maybe eat a little bit healthier? Could you maybe change some of the people you're around? Could you maybe challenge yourself and do a cold shower, right? Like one thing, it will eventually spark, right? It's like a firework. Like one of them sparks and then suddenly they're all sparking. And that's that mindset of, by doing one little thing, taking one action, will snowball into more and more and more. And that's how the growth is created. It's not like you grow and suddenly become, your life's not going to change in a day. It just is a snowball effect. And that's why those little actions will snowball over time in helping you achieve those things.
yeah, that's good, man. And for you, it took a seizure, crashing your car into a ditch, and then getting this horrible prognosis for it to
Mhm.
really snap you into this next phase of who you are. I
Yeah.
think so many of us are out there waiting for our moment, and God forbid we have a moment like that. But your moment, if you're listening to this, could be right now. It could be just hearing this message. I'm a firm believer. I practice New Year's resolutions all the time, and people tell me they're a bunch of crap. But for me, it works because New Year's is that moment every single year. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, when people are listening to this, New Year's is a long ways off. And I don't want people to say, I'm going to wait and I'll change my life January 1st, 2021 or 2022 or whenever into the future. This could be your moment. I love how you said you don't need to go out there and do it all. Just challenge yourself. Do something. Prove to yourself that you can step out of your comfort zone. Eat something different tomorrow. Take
Yeah.
a cold shower, good Lord, or just go introduce yourself to somebody.
Yeah.
That's good. That's powerful. Tell yourself you can do it, and then your confidence will start to improve, and that leads to something else, which leads to something else, and then pretty soon we're following in your shadow, man, and we're just we're living that life that you're living, where it's infectious, and we are inspiring others just like you're doing.
Yeah,
That's good.
absolutely, man. Taking that action. And again, it's the quote that changed my life. It always seems impossible until it is done, by Nelson Mandela. It's as simple as that.
That's good. That's good. People that listen to this podcast know that I always wrap it up with that mic drop moment. I think you just delivered it right there. I think that was it. I mean, if you got more, feel free, but
That was actually the one. Yeah, that's my go-to.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's it. If quoting Nelson Mandela, I don't know that you can get better than that. But it's the reason I think it resonates is because it's so real, and you are literally living and breathing proof of that quote and of that mindset and of being that person. So I just, man, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you are here and you're willing to share this story with me personally, and with all the other people out there that are listening and watching. It's impressive, man, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you again for having me on here. It's a lot of
Sure.
fun.
Absolutely. Can you just real quick before we sign off, can you tell people where they can get your stuff and learn more about you and possibly connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just type in Logan Sneed on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and I'm going to be on all platforms. You can go to Amazon and look up my name. You can look up my name on there, or Thank You Cancer. That's where my book is, or you can visit logansneed.com, and you can contact me there, or check out everything from there. And I'm always around.
That's awesome. And all of that stuff will be listed in the show notes, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on the pod. Just when you're done listening to this, look at the bottom, connect with this guy. Even if you just subscribe to him on Facebook or Instagram, looking at his pictures every day will change your life, and they'll cause you to smile, and they'll challenge you and change your perspective. No more woes is me. Get out there and do something, man.
Thank
You're
you.
awesome. I appreciate you doing this. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Really appreciate it.